Count us in, Cassie.
Count us in.
3, 2, 1.
Hello,
Hello,
hang on,
back out the
womb.
womb.
This sounds like we've got an echo.
So we've
Yeah.
got Ruth, Karen, and Lorna joining us from various points in the country. Do you want to each tell us where you are?
I think Lorna and I are about sort of 5 minute cycle ride apart in North London. And
Oh,
Karen's a bit further out, aren't you?
I am. I'm in very wet and windy Brighton and Hove at the moment. Sadly, a long way away from the rest of the hags.
well, you're closer together than you have been in recent years. Ruth, you've moved to London recently, haven't you?
Yeah, from Aberystwyth. So talking about wet and windy, I'm glad I'm not there at the moment.
It's nice to know that some people are doing the move that way. Most people seem to be moving out of London, but
Yeah.
I'm such a big fan of the London, so I'm pleased when people come and join us. Good
It's
people there.
lovely to have fresh air and beautiful countryside, but you can't beat London for everything that's going on. So yeah, so much happening every single minute. You can't really catch up. And same, as much as I love ABBA, it couldn't be said for ABBA.
It's lovely to speak to you today, and I'm so excited that you're coming to play our next gig on the 8th of February at the Hope and Anchor. I wanted to kind of get a bit of Hag's history in for anyone who's new to Hagar the Womb. So take us back to the 80s. So Karen and Ruth, what was happening in this toilet in the 80s?
We
Ruth, you
formed in a toilet, in an infamous toilet in the Wapping Autonomy Centre, otherwise known as an anarchy centre, in 81, as a result of being ignored by the boys who were putting on gigs there. And Lorna, although Lorna wasn't in the band at the time, was hopping around furiously at the front at the time, having established that we were one of her favourite bands in the early 80s. So we find it very fitting that we're all together in this one band now.
In fact, I met you all in a toilet after a gig. The first time that I came to see Hagar the Womb in the 80s, and we all met in the toilet afterwards.
Our safe
Which
space.
toilet?
It's all about toilets.
We had many.
Which toilet was that?
We always migrated to a toilet at gigs. It was just our safe space that we
It's the only place you can hear yourself as well, isn't it? So it's
yeah.
the best place.
And
Oh, definitely.
you
And in the
that was
80s, it was a lot more dangerous, wasn't it? Gigs, you could have bottles of wee thrown at you. There were quite a lot of people shouting your shit at us and things like that. And so toilets always seemed a very nice place where you could commune with other safer people, put your lippy on and just have a bit of a break.
Oh my God, I can't believe anyone actually threw wee at you. That's awful.
Or shouted at us and things like that. It was a lot more different playing gigs in the 1980s, wasn't it, Ruth?
It's very genteel now. We absolutely love it now. We're pinching ourselves. We can't believe our luck.
So yeah, well, I was going to ask, what difference is it? Because you had a bit of a hiatus. You kind of
Our childbearing years.
Yes.
Yeah. And then you're back and experiencing a more calm gig scene, you think?
A really excitable, vibrant gig scene. And it's amazing the amount of women in bands. And actually, you've done such a fantastic job highlighting and promoting this with Loud Women. It's been amazing feeling part of Loud Women. But in the early 80s, there was sort of nothing to be had in that direction. It was really scant pickings, wasn't it? And we very much felt on our own on most bills. And now it's so different. It's just lovely now. Really enjoying it this time round.
I think that's probably why we've done it about 3 times longer this time round. We're so old that we managed to have a 25-year break from being in a band. And I think this time round we've been together about 12 years. whereas we only managed about 4 years of having bottles of wee thrown at us first time round. And it's lovely this time.
And we're reflecting the age, aren't we? We're very proudly reflecting our 60 plus status, apart from some of us who haven't quite reached it yet, but we're all nearing or over that particular milestone. And it's been really nice to be told that we're inspirational by younger women and younger women in bands particularly, because we felt that way with the Poison Girls and a couple of other bands in the early 80s. But as I said, it was scant pickings. We didn't have many people to go up and say, wow, thank you. Just by being on stage, you've really inspired me, or from what you've said, But I think we've got a lot to offer now, because I'd have loved to have heard sort of from an older woman's perspective when I was much younger. And it's not that we go on stage and talk about our chin hairs and the other things that are inflicting us now. But we've got a new song that we'll be playing for the first time at Loud Women, called Mother of All Mothers, which is just about being more than a mother. And I was just chuckling earlier because I remember the first time we rehearsed it, and then with beautiful timing, my text pinged, and it was my son saying, when are you home, Mum? When's my dinner? And it was just a beautiful piece of timing. Yeah, so I've spoken.
I can't wait to hear that. And it's so wonderful that Lorna is now with you. Obviously, Lorna, we've known you for what I think you actually played the very first Loud Women Fest with Raby's Baby.
Yeah.
You were kind of our after hours kind of party slot. And I think the first photo I saw of you was with dolls or chickens, or maybe a combination of both on your head. And I thought, yeah, that's the 11 o'clock band right there.
Yeah.
How are you managing 2 bands? That's quite a feat with a full-time job as well.
Yeah, I think because even though there is a lot of things that are very similar with Raby's Babies and Hags, but I'm playing a different instrument, and it's different enough where it just feels like a different experience. And also both bands aren't the busiest in the whole world, so there is space for both, and we haven't had any conflicts yet. We've played a few gigs together, which is really good.
Yeah,
that's like, but in fact the Loud Women birthday gig, that I wasn't in Hags then, but that was a gig that I sort of instigated almost to a certain point. I contacted Cassie and said, I want to have a gig, and it's got to be Raby's Babies and Hagar the Woman Menstrual Cramps. Can you put it on for us? And which you did, and it was brilliant, wasn't it?
It was. It had the best poster ever. I've still got that poster, my study wall. Yeah,
that was the sort of dream come true gig. And then a couple of years later, I was actually in Hags, so that was.
And can I just say that Lorna very modestly says that she plays 2 different instruments. What she didn't say is she actually learnt guitar just to play with